Welcome, fellow bookworms, to TBR's Den. My name is Whitney, and today I have Once Upon a TBR Hunny Jar for the month of July. This is round 28 of my game. I was really on the fence about whether I wanted to play this game this month or not, because I have a stack of books that I specifically want to read this summer in July, and I was like, I don't know if I want to play my game and risk not getting to these books, but some of these I'd be happy if I just got to the first book in the series. I'm probably not going to even attempt the genre portion of my game. I think I'm gonna just focus on the prompts and see how many of these books that I have already stacked up I can get to. I also will probably have several that roll over from June, because I have several rolling over from May, so that's going to push back my June books. And so yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. Come July, of course, I always film these about a month in advance, and so I don't know how my June reading is going to go, but I have a feeling based on May that I'm going to kind of get a backlog. But I just love my game so much, like, I didn't not want to play it, so I decided we're just gonna play it, and then we'll see what happens in July, because I'm not much of a mood reader. Like, I like to have a TBR, and I like my game because it gets books that I might not otherwise pick up, but I do, like I said, I do have already quite a stack that I like to get to, but some of them, like, there's two that are trilogies. I'd be happy if I just read the first book, and others that if I don't get to, I'm not as upset about. They just would make a good summer book. So yeah, let's go ahead and see. I think that's all for that I need to talk about. I did put one prompt back in the honey jar from May, and that was the White Rabbit prompt, because I did not get to that book, and I'm not rolling it over. The other prompts of the books I didn't get to, I'm keeping out because I'm planning on still reading those. But other than that, I don't think there's much to talk about. And so it's just about jumping into the game, and then we'll talk about the books and any that I might add on extra. I did almost forget, though, we do need to do our series poll. I almost forgot that. I did put a couple of new ones in here because I finished some series. So I do have some new ones in here, so we'll just have to see what we get. I'm making pretty good progress. I do have a video that will be coming out. I think it will come out before this video. How's my plans? Yeah, it should have been out last week. I'll leave it linked down below, updating y'all on how my priority reads are going. So if you're interested in that, definitely check out that video. But let's go ahead and pull our two prompts. Oh, I got two, so we're just gonna go with these two since they came out together. These are going to be the two. So the first one, let me set that down, make it easier on myself, is going to be Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. I'm excited. I loved what was the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I really enjoyed that, and I'm excited. I might binge read these, so I might try to read both of them, but definitely at least the first one. And then the second series I'm going to be reading is Okay Good. And that's the Prison Healer trilogy by Lynette and Noni. I have read the first book, The Prison Healer, and I just never continued on with the series. I do have the second and third book, so this will be a really good one to get on there. So hopefully they can work for some prompts as well. So yeah, let me go ahead and get the game board set up, get you guys turned around, and we'll get into gameplay. Alright, so I do have 3 reward prompts, so even though I didn't get one for May, I still have 3 to use, and this just allows me to forego a honey jar prompt if I so choose. So I have those. Again, I'm probably not going to do the genres, but just in case I decide to, blue is sci-fi, yellow is historical, green is fantasy, red is romance, orange is mystery, thriller, horror, purple is any genre, and it's a completely free pick this year, so I don't need to pull a honey jar prompt. And then black, I move forward 3 spaces and use whatever genre that is. And I also have to pull 2 Hunny Jar prompts. I do roll for a character. We got Owl last time, so if we roll him again, we can choose to roll again if we want to. Otherwise, 1 is Christopher Robin, which is a coming of age or middle grade. 2 is Pooh Bear, which is a classic or comfort read. 3 is Piglet, which is an auto by author or reread. 4 is Rabbit, which is a free choice. 5 is Owl, which is a memoir, biography, or any nonfiction. 6 is Tigger, which is lighthearted or fast-paced. 7 is Eeyore, which is a literary or dystopian. And 8 is Kanga and Roo, which is a manga, graphic novel, or children's book. So let's go ahead and roll and see who we're getting this time. 4. So that is Rabbit, so I get to do a completely free choice. All right, so we are ready. So let's go ahead and see what our first disc is. Just a reminder, I do move 2 squares for each color other than purple or black. So let's go ahead and see what we're starting with. Let's do this one. Okay, we're starting with a red, which we like because we have several romances I want to get to. So 1 and 2. And then the prompt is, like I said, I'm not really caring about genres, but it's good to get a genre I want anyway. So it makes me feel like I'm doing my game right. Okay, so this is Moana and its Mother Nature threat. All right, so next. Let's see. Let's do this one. Yay, a purple. So not moving very far, but that's a completely free pick. All right. Maybe the game knew I was tempted not to play it, so it's being really extra nice so far, but we'll see how it goes. And a black. Nice. So we go here. 1, 2, 3, which again, green is typically fantasy, but we'll see if I try to fulfill that. But I do need 2 Hunny Jar prompts. So we'll do this one. Okay, so this is, come on. There's the one. There we go. Dog pick, which will work great, which means I'll only need to choose 1 book because I can have the dog pick out of whatever this next one is, which will be, okay. So this is Piglet. It's pink on cover. All right. I'm really happy with how it's going so far. Let's see our next one. I'll do this one. Yes, another purple. So there's that. And again, it's a completely free pick. Okay. And then let's see here. So we'll do this one. Okay, an orange. Which go 1 and 2. So normally a mystery, thriller, or horror, but we'll just have to see and fulfill the prompt of, that one's trying to jump out. Okay. Booktube TBR, so somebody else's TBR that they're reading. All right. This one. All right, we got yellow, which gets us 1 and 2. So that was a good move. And it needs to fulfill the prompt of, let's do this one. Aha! So animal main characters. All right, moving right along here. Let's see. Okay, got green. Goes 1 and 2. So needs to fulfill the prompt of, let's do this one. Okay, this is a bookworm. Come on. And it's Instagram pick. All right, we're really close. So if we get a red, blue, or black, we're done. Orange or yellow or purple, we can move. And green will just have to go off to the side. So let's go ahead and see what we get here. This one. Okay, another purple. So another free pick. And so again, same thing. Red, blue, black, we're done. Orange, we can move. Anything else goes off to the side now. Do this. Okay, we got a yellow, so we can't move. This one. Okay, blue means we're done. So we go 1 and 2. We made it to the North Pole. And so this one needs to fulfill the prompt of Yeah. Okay. Oh. So this is Hercules 0 to Hero. I'm going to get my books picked out and I will be back with you. Okay, so I got my books picked out. Even though the game was super nice to me and I was able to get several that I had wanted to on, there's a stack that I wasn't able to get on. I still want to read, and I did end up putting four books back away that I know I'm just not going to get to. Even putting those ones away, I still feel like I'm pretty delusional, but we're going to see what we can do. A lot of these are romance, which is what I'm feeling for July. So a lot of them are romance, so hopefully they'll be quick reads. But I did add up the page count just because I was curious, and it ended up being 7,594 pages. So I would need to read about 245 pages per day if I'm to read everything that I want to. But we'll just see how it goes. And hopefully I'll have a good reading month in June. And that way I don't have rollovers that I'll want to read either. But let's go ahead and get into it. So, of course, we rolled for our character, and we got super lucky. We got Rabbit, which means a free pick. If you're new, my channel name, Tibera, is a rabbit spelled backward because that's my Chinese zodiac sign. And so rabbits means free pick here. And so for this one, I obviously had a lot of options, but I know I for sure want to read this one in July. And so I went with Mixed Signals by B.K. Borison. This is the third book in the Love Light Farms series, which is basically small town romance about this group of people that run a Christmas tree farm, basically. And this one is following Layla, who is the baker on the farm, and then the local cop, Caleb, I think is his name, yeah. And so it says, a small town baker learns to raise her expectations for love with some help from a handsome local teacher. I thought he was like a deputy, but maybe I'm getting myself mixed up. Anyway, from a handsome local teacher in the sunny romantic comedy. Layla Dupree has given up on love. She's waded through all the fish in the sea, each one more disappointing than the last. Apparently, owning the bakery at Inglewild's most romantic destination does not help one's love life, despite Layla's best efforts. All she wants is a partner who gives her butterflies, not someone who ghosts her at dinner and leaves her with a check. Good thing Caleb Alvarez has the perfect solution. After saving Layla from another date gone bad, he has a simple proposition. 1 month of no strings dating. He'll do his best to renew her faith in men while she rates his romantic game. It's a win-win situation. All the benefits of dating without the added pressure of feelings and unmet expectation. But there's one ingredient they haven't considered. The chemistry between them is red hot, and the urge to take things to the next level is more tempting than Layla's mocha fudge brownies. So I really enjoyed the first two. I think I gave Love Light five stars and the second one 4 stars. I can't remember right now, but we'll see how I get along with this one. Even if the writing's not perfect, I just really enjoy this author's writing style. It really hits the mark as far as vibes go for me. And so I'm excited to see these two and read their story. So that was my first free pick. Then we got a red, which again, this round I kind of threw out the genres. Some of them ended up hitting, but I wasn't really looking at that because I wanted to get the books that were on my stack on this TBR, so it doesn't really matter. But we got Moana, and it was Mother Nature Threat, and it actually had the perfect book. I was looking at two that I just hauled, and this one fit the prompt better. So I'm going to be reading Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaghy. And this one I read Once There Were Wolves, I want to say is what the title is. I'll put a picture. And everybody's been kind of talking about this one recently. which this one actually probably would have worked for the booktube TBR, honestly. I've seen it go on a couple TBRs. But regardless, I put it in for this one because it definitely works for this prompt. And yeah, people have been buzzing about this, and I had read that other one. I didn't fully love it, but I really enjoyed it. Like, I like that kind of nature aspect of the writing, and I'm excited about this one. So this one, it says, Dominic Salt and his 3 children are caretakers of Shearwater, a tiny island not far from Antarctica, home to the world's largest seed bank. Shearwater was once full of researchers, but with the sea levels rising, the salts are now its final inhabitants. So I would definitely consider that a threat from Mother Nature. And until during the worst storm, again another threat from Mother Nature, the island has ever seen, a woman mysteriously washes ashore. Isolation has taken its toll on the salts, but as they nurse the woman, Rowan, back to strength, it begins to feel like she might just be what they need. Rowan, long accustomed to protecting herself, starts imagining a future where she could belong to someone again. But Rowan isn't telling the whole truth about why she set out for Shearwater. And when she discovers sabotage radios in a freshly dug grave, she realizes Dominic is keeping his own secrets. As the storms on Shearwater gather force, they all must decide if they can trust one another enough to protect the precious seeds in their care before it's too late, and if they can, finally put the tragedies of the past behind them to create something new. A novel of breathtaking twists, dizzying beauty, and ferocious love, Wild Dark Shore is about the impossible choices we make to protect the people we love even as the world around us disappears. So it sounds like there might be a little bit of romance in there too. So I'm really excited for this one. So that is going on, and I just hauled it, so it's always good to get a book you just bought on and done. Then we got Purple, which is another free pick. I had 4 free picks this game, which was fantastic because, like I said, the stack was real. So I'm going to be putting on When in Rome by Srah Adams. This is book 1 of, I'm guessing, the When in Rome trilogy. I don't know if the series has a name, but I'm also going to be trying to read the other 2 as well. I wasn't able to get them on the TBR, but I would love to just binge read this trilogy. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So this one says, opposites certainly attract for a stranded pop star and a small town baker in this charming slice of romance from Srah Adams, author of The Cheat Sheet. Amelia Rose, known as Ray Rose to her adoring fans, is burnt out from years of maintaining her Princess of Pop image. Inspired by her favorite Audrey Hepburn film, Roman Holiday, she drives off in the middle of the night for a break in Rome, Kentucky, that is. When Noah Walker finds Amelia on his front lawn in her broken down car, he makes it clear he doesn't have the time or patience for celebrity problems. He's too busy running the pie shop his grandmother left him and reminding his nosy but lovable neighbors to mind their own damn business. Despite his better judgment, he lets her stay in his guest room, but only until her car is fixed. Then she's on her own. But Noah starts to see a different side of Ray Rose. He sees the real Amelia, kind-hearted and goofy, yet lonely from years in the public eye. He can't help but get close to her. Soon she'll have to return to her glamorous life on tour, but until then, Noah will show Amelia all the charming small-town experiences she's been missing, and she'll help him open his heart to more. Amelia can't risk falling for the cozy town and her grumpy tour guide, but even Audrey had to leave Rome eventually. So that sounds fun, and then in practice makes perfect. This one is Annie Walker is on a quest to find her perfect match, someone who complements her happy, quiet life running the local flower shop in Rome, Kentucky. But finding her dream man may be harder than Annie imagined. Everyone knows everyone in her hometown, and the dating prospects are getting fewer by the day. After she overhears her latest date say she is so unbelievably boring, Annie starts to think the problem might be her. Is it too late to become flirtatious and fun like the leading ladies in her favorite romance movies? Maybe she only needs a little practice, and Annie has the perfect person in mind to be her tutor, Will Griffin. Will, the sexy tattooed and absolutely gorgeous bodyguard, is temporarily back in Rome, providing security for Amelia Rose as excitement builds for her upcoming marriage to Noah Walker. Annie's brother, I don't consider that a spoil because it's a romance. You know they get together. Anyway, um, Annie's brother. He has one personal objective while on the job: stay away from Annie Walker and any other possible attachments to the sleepy town. But no sooner than he gets settled will find himself tasked with helping Annie find the love of her life by becoming the next leading lady of Rome, Kentucky. Will wants no part in changing the sweet and lovely Annie. He knows for a fact that some stuffy, straight-laced guy won't make her happy, but he doesn't have the heart to say no. Amid steamy practice dates and strictly educational tutoring lessons, Annie discovers there are more layers to Will than his usual stoic attitude. As the lines of their friendship becomes dangerously blurred, Annie reconsiders her dream guy. Maybe her love life doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be real. So that's going to be fun. And then I actually used this one for the dog pick because I figured I used the third one because I wanted to read all three. And why this one's very pink, I consider this like a more like dilute pink. And this is Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. I actually got this one out of a little free library and then ordered these two. And it was like right when it came out, like, so it was a brand new release, and I found it in a little free library. It was a great find. But in this one, you have Emily Walker hates having her carefully crafted world disrupted by anyone, most of all her legendary nemesis, Jack Bennett. He's the opposite of the wonderful hero she dreams up in her double life as romance writer, which is why Emily was perfectly happy when Jack left Rome, Kentucky mid-school year with his fiancée. The last thing Emily saw coming was Jack's return at the start of summer after calling off the wedding and ending his relationship, but he's here to stay as her colleague and her neighbor. Jack is glad to be back, eager to renovate his house and work on the next mystery novel under his best-selling pen name. But when he realizes he's now neighbors with the one woman who has always pushed his buttons, he discovers something he's even more excited about: thwarting Emily and her petty plans to sabotage his return. With their chemistry fueled and animosity at an all-time high, Emily accidentally sends an email to their school's principal that could reveal her secret literary side hustle. She needs to steal back her manuscript, and Jack, she hates to admit, is just the man to help her. Surprisingly, he agrees. Will their unlikely alliance put an end to their rivalry, or could it lead to a steamy plot twist they never saw coming? So this whole series just sounds perfect for the summer, and just what I'm looking for. So I'm excited to at least read the first one, hoping to get to the second two as well. So there are those. Then let's see here, we got a black, which meant we moved forward 3 spaces to green. And for this one, we first got Dog Pick, which is the Fox and the Hound. And then we also got Piglet, which was pink on cover. And this was easy to combine because obviously I just picked 3 books with pink on the cover and then let the dogs choose. And so I did Beg, Borrow, or Steal, which you already saw. I did The Undertaking of The Undermining of Twyla and Frank by Megan Bannen. And I also did Mixed Signals, which you also already saw, so kind of spoiler, you know what I picked. But I'll insert the clip because it was Marley. And excuse his homeless looking nature. It's molting season for him is what we call it. He's shedding really bad. And he doesn't particularly like being brushed, so I have to do it in swipes. And then he runs away and then comes back and do it swipes. So anyway, he looks a little homeless, but here's the clip of him picking the book.
Wait. Nice.
And so we have The Undermining of Twyla and Frank by Megan Bannen. I have read what is The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, which is the first book in this series, twice. Loved it both times. I didn't end up getting into this one, and it just has the pink heart. And the third book in the series is coming out, so I want to make sure I get to this. And it worked because it is a fantasy, so since we landed on green, it just kind of worked out that way. And so yeah, like I said, I love The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, so I'm really excited for this one. And this one says, true love can be dynamite. Strange things abound in the land of Tanria. But widowed, middle-aged Twyla Banneker was truly shocked everyone when she partnered up with her best friend, Frank Ellis, to join the Tanrian Marshals. 8 years later, her rewarding career remains a welcome change from the domestic grind of mom life. Fortunately, or unfortunately, the job is a lot safer these days and a lot less exciting. So when Twyla and Frank discover a glitter-covered body near a dragon-sized footprint, they're ready to be back in action. Soon they wind up ensnared in a nefarious plot that goes far deeper than any lucrative Tanrian mine shaft. And as danger closes in, so does the realization that their easy friendship is about to ignite. So this world is really fun. And I'm excited to read their story. So, and I love that this is a little bit of an older couple as well. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm really feeling the romance vibes this round. Then we got, let's see, another purple. So another completely free pick. And for this one, I decided to put the book that is for my year in Aldea or Adventures in Aldea prompt, which I'm going to 7B, which is read whilst on watch, to read a book entirely in the PM hours. And I thought this would be a good book to do that. And so I'm going to be reading Nosferatu by Joe Hill. And yeah, this is a chunky one. It's like 686 pages or whatnot, but I'm hoping it will read fast. It's not too dense as far as like the text and such. So hopefully it's not too bad, and I'll be reading it at each night is my plan. So I'll just be reading a little bit at a time over the month. So this one says Victoria McQueen has an uncanny knack for finding things: a misplaced bracelet, a missing photograph, answers to unanswerable questions. When she writes and answers to unanswerable questions. When she rides her bicycle over the rickety old covered bridge in the woods near her house, she always emerges in the places she needs to be. Charles Talent Manx has a gift of his own. He likes to take children for rides in his 1938 Rolls-Royce Wraith with the vanity plate Nosferatu. In the Wraith, he and his innocent guests can slip out of the everyday world and onto hidden roads that lead to an astonishing playground of amusements he calls Christmasland. The journey across the highway of Charlie's twisted imagination transforms his precious passengers, leaving them as terrifying and unstoppable as their benefactor. Then comes the day when Vic goes looking for trouble and finds her way to Charlie. That was a lifetime ago. Now the only kid to escape Charlie's evil is all grown up and desperate to forget. But Charlie Manx hasn't stopped thinking about Victoria McQueen. On the road again, he won't slow down until he's taken his revenge. He's after something very special, something Vic can never replace. As a life and death battle of wills builds, Vic McQueen prepares to destroy Charlie once and for all, or die trying. So this is great. I love like horror in the summertime. My nieces used to come visit me every summer, and we would watch horror movies together. So I definitely like the vibes, and I'm obviously having a lot of like romance. So this will be kind of a nice change of pace. And like I said, I'm planning on kind of stretching it out throughout the month, reading a little bit each night. So then we got an orange, which again doesn't really matter this round. And we got Bookworm, which is a booktube TBR. And for this one, I thought about going back and watching TBRs, but I know I've seen this go on TBRs. I'm not entirely sure if it was this month, but I know at least last month. And so I'm going to count it because I've seen it on TBRs, and that is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonam-Young, and I've seen it on multiple TBRs, not like just one. But I watch a lot of TBR videos, and so they kind of get muddled, so I can never remember. But I know I've seen it go on multiple ones. So this is one of my priority reads for the year, so I definitely want to get it read. And like I said, I'm in the romance mood for July. So this one says, Winifred Wynne McNulty has always been wildly independent and not one to be coddled for a limb difference. Wynne has spent most of her life trying to prove that she can do it all on her own. With some minor adjustments, she's done just fine. Hooking up at a costume party with the incredibly charming Beau changes everything. Wynne finds herself pregnant and decides to keep the baby. While Beau is surprisingly elated to step up to the plate, Wynne is unsure whether she can handle this new challenge. Together, Win and Bo decide to get to know each other as friends and nothing more while they embark on this parenting journey together. But as they both should know by now, life rarely goes according to plan. So, yeah, I'm very excited to finally get to this one. It's been too long. So there is that one. And then we got a yellow, again, doesn't really matter this round. And for this one, we got Lady and the Tramp. And so it was animal main characters. And this one, I'm not going like kind of what I had in mind, like as the animals like narrating it or anything. I don't know because this is inspired by 101 Dalmatians. But the animals are definitely main characters and they play a prominent part in the story. And so I'm going to be reading A Spot of Trouble by Teri Wilson. I just found this in a little free library. So I just did an unhaul, which that video, the unhaul books, was out the beginning of the month. And so yeah, when I did that unhaul, I found this. It was one of the books I found, so I'm excited. And love isn't always a walk in the park. And so it says 2 Dalmatians, 1 accidental mix-up. What could go wrong? Violet March and Sam Nash are as different as night and day and have been enemies ever since Violet accused Sam of dog napping her beloved Dalmatian. Sam knows that would never happen. His well-trained fire safety demonstration dog never steps out of line, whereas Violet's problematic Pooch has never met a command she didn't ignore completely, much like her bubbly owner. Against a backdrop of canine hijinks and a summertime softball league, the 2 Dalmatian owners constantly butt heads, but by the time the 4th of July Fireman's Ball rolls around, they begin to realize that sometimes love isn't so clear-cut, and a little puppy love might be just the thing they've been missing. And so I obviously really wanted to read this because it has the 4th of July aspect there. And it just sounds really cute. And I kind of looked at like the author's note, and it's not really a retelling, but it is inspired by 101 Dalmatians. So, yeah, I'm very, very excited for this. And so that's going to go for that prompt. Then we got a green, again, doesn't really matter. And we got a bookworm, which was Instagram pick. I decided to go ahead and use one of my rewards for this. I actually forgot to write down the animal main character and the Instagram pick on my notebook. And so I had picked out all my books, and then I was like, wait a minute, like, where are those 2 from? And yeah, so I was like, I don't want to do Instagram, so I'm just going to use my reward. And I'm actually going to get, this one is for my Genre-a-thon pick. So if you're new, Genre-a-thon is my readathon. This is the last year I'm doing it, but it goes all year long, and we focus on different genre-related prompts or genre-adjacent, because I do age ranges sometimes. And for July, it's 4th of July, so it's either a political fantasy or a book about a specific country or leader. And so for this one, I'm going to go the political fantasy route, and I'm putting on Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. So this is what I will be reading. And it says, Book 1 of the Between Earth and Sky trilogy, inspired by the civilizations of pre-Columbian Americas and woven into a tale of celestial prophecies, political intrigue, and forbidden magic. A god will return when the earth and sky converge under the black sun. In the holy city of Tova, the winter solstice is usually a time for celebration and renewal, but this year it coincides with a solar eclipse, a rare celestial event prescribed by the sun priest as an unbalancing of the world. Meanwhile, a ship launches from a distant city bound for Tova and set to arrive on the solstice. The captain of the ship, Twyla, is a disgraced teak whose song can calm the waters around her as easily as it can warp a man's mind. Her ship carries 1 passenger, described as harmless. The passenger, Serapio, is a young man, blind, scarred, and cloaked in destiny. As Twyla well knows, when a man is described as harmless, he usually ends up being a villain. Crafted with unforgettable characters, Rebecca Roanhorse's epic adventure explores the decadence of power amidst the weight of history and the struggle of individuals swimming against the confines of society and their broken past. is the most original series debut of the decade. So this has been, I found it at a thrift store and it's been on my TBR for years. So I'm excited to finally get this read. So there is that. Then we got another free pick, which we love. Like I said, the game was very, very nice to me. And I struggled with this one. And this one, I didn't really have to read it in July. The only reason I want to is because I did get it has like a companion novel in the series. And it's a Christmas book, and I got that for my 24 days of Bookmas. So I need to read this before then, but obviously we have months before then. But I really just kind of want to read it in the summer, especially because it's this nice yellow cover. So I put Mr. Fixer-Upper by Lucy Score on the list. And yeah, I've heard mixed things about this one. I've only read one other Lucy Score book, and that's Things We Never Got Over. And I have the other two of that series. But anyway, I want to get this read, so the Christmas book, I have already read this one. And I'm excited to give it a try. So it says, it's a constant battle on set between the sexy, grumpy renovation reality star and his no-nonsense field producer. Paige St. James has zero time for temperamental talent, especially flannel-wearing Gannon King, who acts like being in front of the camera is the last thing he wants. Mr. Sex in a Tool Belt has made it his mission in life to get a rise out of her, but Paige is a master at locking down her temper. After all, they're on the road together, working long hours, renovating homes, and changing lives. When Gannon manages to find his way through the cracks in her professional facade, sparks fly, and hiding it from the cameras is all but impossible. Gannon is infatuated, but Paige knows she won't ever be taken seriously if she's caught sleeping with the star of her show. Except, she can't seem to resist those big rough hands, those smoldering hazel eyes, the dimples, the tool belt, that fiercely protective vibe. Too bad it's all about to come crashing down. So I'm excited to give it a go. Like I said, I really enjoyed Things We Never Got Over. So even though I've heard mixed things about this, I think the writing style of the author works for me. And I'll just go kind of in with more realistic expectations. And then generally I typically enjoy books that way. So, and then we got Y'all, and we couldn't move, so that's an unusable disc. We'll come back to that. And then we got a blue, which allowed us to reach the North Pole. And for this one, we got Hercules, which is 0 to Hero, which is a fun one. So for that one, I'm going to be going with the series pull, and that is book 2 in the Prison Healer series, and this is The Gilded Cage by Lynette Noni. So this is the second book, so I'm not going to read the synopsis on it, but basically in the Prison Healer you have Kiva, and she's in prison, obviously, and she's kind of the healer of the prison, and this prisoner gets brought in, and she's told, she needs to keep her alive in order for this prisoner to face these trials. And she also gets a note that tells her she needs to keep this prisoner alive, but the prisoner is completely out of it, unable to face the trials. So Kiva ends up volunteering in her place, and there's like elemental aspects to the trials, which is really fun. And so if she doesn't successfully complete the trials, they both die, and if she does, then I think they both get their freedom or something like that. It's been a while, but I remember enough that I have no fear of going into this. And yeah, I'm very, very excited about continuing the series. The Prison Healer has really stuck with me, even though it has been a while since I read it. And it's long past time I continue and finish the series. Obviously, I'm reading the second one, but then hopefully I'll be able to get the third one like in August or September or something. We'll have to see. But that is going to work for that one because, she's, from the prison, and then it works. It works. Anyway, then for our unusable disc, which there's only one, so it has to connect with the number 1 in some way, I'm going to use my other series pull, which is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first book in the Six of Crows duology, even though it's the 4th book in the Carissa-verse. It's the first book in that duology, so I'm counting it. And yeah, I'm really excited because people tend to talk more about the Six of Crows zoology than Shadow and Bone, and I really enjoyed Shadow and Bone, that series. So, let's see, is that there? It's just a very small little thing, but it says Ketterdam, a bustling hub of international trade where anything can be had for the right price, and no one knows that better than criminal prodigy Kaz Breaker? Brecker? Kaz is offered a chance at a deadly heist that could make him rich beyond his wildest dreams, but he can't pull it off alone. A convict with a thirst for revenge, a sharpshooter who can't walk away from a wager, a runaway with a privileged past, a spy known as the Wraith, a heartrender using her magic to survive the slums, a thief with a gift for unlikely escapes. Kaz's crew are the only ones who might stand between the world and destruction if they don't kill each other first. So, I'm so excited to finally get to this. I wanted to try to read both of them in July, but that's just not going to happen. I mean, I'm already being way ambitious with the extras I'm putting on. And so, yeah, that's going to be for my unusable disc. So not too terrible. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on there, and then I added the 2 extras for the 1 series. But let's go ahead and talk about the extras that I wasn't able to get on, but I still really want to read in July. The first one is this book, Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Broadbent. The next book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series comes out in August, so I want to get this read. That way I can just jump into that one. Like, I don't really need to read this one before that one because it's kind of a standalone within that series, but I would like to get it read, and this is the only one of Carissa Broadbent's books I have not read yet. So this says, Selena has sacrificed everything for her goddess, her soul, her freedom, her eyes. Life in service to the Archesin, a cult of the goddess of fate, has turned Selena from orphan street rat to disciplined killer. Determined to overthrow Leia's tyrannical king, but when a brutal vampire conqueror, Atreus, arrives on their shores, Selena faces an even deadlier adversary. She's tasked with the crucial mission: infiltrate his army, earn his trust, and kill him. Yet when Selena becomes a seer, she glimpses a dark and shocking past, and a side of him that reminds her far too much of parts of herself she'd rather forget. Selena's orders are clear: the vampire cannot live, but as the blood spilled by Leia's tyrant king runs thicker, her connection with Atreus only grows stronger. A connection forbidden by her vows. A connection that could cost her everything. So, everything I read by this author has been 5 stars for me. I'm really excited for the book that comes out in August. I can't wait for that one. And yeah, I'm really ready to get to this one. So, that's going to go on the list as well. Then these next 2. So this first one's going to be a reread for me. This was gifted to me by Mariana, and I absolutely loved it. I knew there was a second book, and I kind of forgot about it and never ended up getting it. And I was kind of reorganizing and working on. I have a spreadsheet on Excel, and then I also have folders with pictures of the books. And so I was working on that, and I was like, oh yeah, there's supposed to be a second book. And I looked it up. It came out in 2024. I was like, I have to get that. So I would really like to reread it. So we have This Dark Descent, and then the second book, and this was gifted to me, like I said, by Mariana. And then this one is Our Deadly Delights. It's just a duology. I really love this one. I'm not going to read the synopsis of the second one, but I will read you the synopsis of this one. And like I said, I remember it, but I need to refresh myself on this one in particular, and I want to, so that's what I'm hoping. So it says, 100 riders, 4 races, 1 winner. The Russell family is famous throughout Enderlane as breeders of enchanted horses, but their prestige is no match for their rising debts. To save her family's ranch, Makira Russell is left with only one option: enter the Illinois, a treacherous cross-country horse race known as much for its high body count as its enticing prize money. To have any chance of success, Makira will have to recruit Ariel Kadar, a talented but unlicensed enchanter who creates golems in place of enchanted animals, and Damien Adair, a dashing young lord in the midst of a fierce succession battle. Both have mysterious reasons of their own to help Makira, as well as their own blood feuds to avenge. Steeped in Jewish folklore, this dark descent is a spellbinding new fantasy full of intrigue, romance, and pulse-pounding action. In a world as dangerous as this, will hidden agendas and conflicting desires butcher Makira, Ari, and Damien's chances of winning the Illinois, or will another rider's dagger? And so it has a map. It also has, I believe, like um, uh, like a like an explanation of the royal families, and that's the main reason. Like, I remember the story about all the royal families and how they interplay with each other. That's what is out of my mind. So that's why I need to reread this, and then I can jump into this. And I really, really remember being heartbroken where this left off. And so I'm excited to see where the story goes. So that is definitely just, I really, really want to read them. If I don't get to those ones in July, I'm going to save them for my birthday month, which is September, and I'll for sure read them in September. And then the last ones I want to get to, so I'm only adding 6 books. Well, 8, because the Sarah Adams books as well. But this one, I found the third one at a thrift store, and so it just sounded like such a cute little series. And so I got the others. I had to go on thrift books to get these because I couldn't really find them. Like, I found, I think, I'm trying not to use Amazon, and I think they had one of them but not the other, and like maybe just Kindle, I don't know. But anyway, the first one is The Sweetest Thing by Sasha Summers. Then we have Must Love Bees, and lastly we have Honey Be Mine, which is what I found, and they're just cute little bee honey romances, which I want to read in summertime. And they do have recipes in the back, which is fun. And so that's kind of a fun. Like, this one has Granny Hill's brown butter honey cookies, and the other ones have like a honey chicken, and so it's fun. So in the first one we have Tansy Hill, and it says, for Tansy Hill, or says, a stolen family recipe has all the ingredients to turn a rivalry into romance. For Tansy Hill, nothing is sweeter than honey from her farm, except maybe revenge on the man who broke her heart and humiliated her all those years ago. Dane the Viking Knudsen has been Tansy's rival since childhood, and though he's grown into a frustratingly handsome charmer, he's also standing between her and the Best Honey Award at the Honey Bee Festival, which Honey Hill Farms desperately needs to stay afloat. Fanning the sparks that have forever flown between them, the competition is on. Sure, Tansy and Dane have plenty in common, more than they'll admit, but Dane's plans to expand Viking honey are also on the line. When buried family secrets come to light, they'll have to decide whether taking a chance on each other is worth risking the happiness they've been longing for. So, that sounds just so cute. Then in Must Love Bees, says, for cheerful beekeeper and her reclusive new neighbor, love is the sweetest surprise. Astrid Hill can calm a hive full of restless bees, but she has no idea how to make her gruff new neighbor smile. Charlie Driver intends to hightail it out of Honey, Texas as soon as he sold his aunt's property, and Astrid worries her family's adjoining honey business may be affected. But however aloof and annoyingly attractive Charlie may be, his daughters are too adorable to ignore. Charlie would rather untangle a line of computer code than deal with people, and the stress of single parenthood isn't helping. Yet Astrid has a knack for overcoming his resistance to this quirky small town and her beloved bees. What if his girls become attached only to once again lose someone precious? Then again, in love, the more you risk your heart, the sweeter the reward. Oh, these just sound so cute. And then we have Honey Be Mine. And says, can best friends become something even better? Coming home to Honey, Texas for her aunt's wedding should be a joyful experience, but Rosemary Hill's heart is low. She's lost funding for her bee genomics project and has been betrayed by her trusted mentor. Reuniting with Everett, her best friend, helps take the sting out. Soon Rosemary is helping Everett plan bee-friendly park events and getting oddly jealous when he's pursued by her high school nemesis. Honey's most eligible bachelor has a secret. He's loved Rosemary for as long as he can remember. Everett always hesitated to risk their friendship by asking for more, but at last he's ready. That is, until Rosemary is offered her dream job. What kind of best friend would ask her to give that up? Or perhaps the butterflies they're both feeling mean something has changed in the sweetest possible way. So, I don't know. I saw this and then I learned it was a series and I was like, I want them and I want to read them this summer. So, these ones I'm going to try to get read in July, but maybe I'll squeeze them in August if I'm not able to get to them. So 8 additional books, plus the ones that are on my TBR. Like I said, the page count is ridiculously high, but it's a lot of romance. And I know like the fantasy, other than the Rebecca Roanhorse one, the fantasy should be quick reads. Carissa Broadbent always read quick. Gilded Cage and then the Stark Descent and Our Deadly Designs are young adults, so they should read quick. Um, Wild Dark Shores is really short. So yeah, they should be quick reads. And so even though it's a high page count, I think I have a good chance. So I'm not going to hold them up because there are a lot, but please let me know if you've read any of these. If you're interested in reading any of these, I would love to know that down in the comments below. If you just want to let me know you're here and you're supporting the channel, you can always leave a rabbit or maybe a bee emoji for the bee books here. I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys here. Happy reading, everyone. Bye.